as soon as we know anything more definite. Beyond the airport case, there isn't very much else going on at the moment. That said, we will have noticed, sir, that there are a number of security directives and authorizations that you signed, which are coming due for renewal, and my recommendations regarding each of those are set out in your brief, sir. And they continue talking. And then the chief of staff, who of course is a political animal, NSA, as we discussed earlier, we do need to come up with something concrete soon in order to protect the president politically. The opposition are already running their mouths, and Roche has concealed his irritation and spoke in his usual measured and calm manner. I am fully aware of them, and when we have something concrete to say, we will do so. And it goes on. But here's the thing. Yes, so Mike realized with a start that he'd been staring at the vice president as she left the room, having also found himself also doing so during the meeting, despite the fact that she hadn't said a word. There was something about her that he found quite arresting, and he hoped that nobody had noticed his staring. He shook his head slightly to clear his mind and refocus on the task in hand. As we will see, you will see when you get further down, it remains to be seen how effective he was at refocusing. And I'm just going to stop there.
Thank you very much. Wow. I'm sure you already, I don't need to tell you, do I? You can see the picture. Okay, so I suppose you have 20 minutes. If you have questions, don't remember it first. Someone go first.
Thank you, sir. I'm already anticipating a binge-worthy series. I did. My question is there, has it crossed your mind whether to turn this into a movie? I will be delighted if you say so.
Yeah, the spirit.
When Best Surf Ball first came out 10 years ago, more than one person came up to me and said, "You really need to think about making this into a movie." To which my response was that, okay, fine, well, if you feel that strongly about it, you go do the legwork. And if you find somebody who's interested, come back and talk to them. And nothing really happened. And then one of those people read Chronicles and said, okay, no, we have to do something about this. And actually put me in touch with two screenwriters, one in the States and one in London. Yeah, very early, very preliminary discussions. I think it's fair to say that because these stories are kind of set in different settings, so Nigeria, States, different parts of the States, and so on and so forth. Everybody said to make this thing is going to require a huge budget, and I said, well, that's the job of a screenwriter. Write it in a way that doesn't need a huge budget. But yes, the thought has been raised, but watch this space.
Questions? Okay, so let me just go.
That you just described. One question in my mind, in terms of researching this material, so I presume you've got to strike a balance between sort of authenticity and realism, and dangerous layers in the character back that could create a problem. How do you strike that balance, and in that process, so you get the kind of energy and realism, gritty realism, but you don't potentially inadvertently compromise real work?
Excellent question. I think I had ab initio an advantage in that, this is a world that I have not completely been immersed in, but have kind of been lived in on the fringes, as it were. So I wasn't starting from scratch. In my military service, I did do a lot of intelligence work, both kinetic operations, but also in terms of non-kinetic operations, especially when the war in terror became a thing. So one was able to draw on that, but there's nothing I have said in terms of